The galaxy was a vast and perilous expanse, filled with countless advanced civilizations. From the crystalline, emotionless minds of the Zentari to the swarm-like, hive-driven Ferex, humanity stood as an anomaly, young, unpredictable, and often underestimated. For centuries, Earth's most powerful allies and enemies alike had ridiculed human resolve, mocking their primitive technology and scattered planetary systems. But no one truly understood the value of human ingenuity, nor the hidden strength that lurked within their seemingly fragile form. Earth's secret weapon was not a hyper-advanced weapon system or a fleet of ships that could traverse the stars in a blink. No, it was something far more powerful, an unpredictable spark of creativity, born from the chaotic mix of human experience, adversity, and the relentless drive to survive. It was a force that no alien empire could comprehend, and it would soon become humanity's most dangerous advantage. The year was 2296, and the galaxy had already begun to feel the tremors of war. The Velker Dominion, an empire of towering, armored beings, had begun an aggressive expansion, pushing into systems that once stood proudly under the protection of the Intergalactic Council. For decades, Earth had been a minor player in galactic politics, content to observe and learn, while larger powers vied for control. But that was about to change. The Velker's arrival at Earth's borders had caught the Council's attention, and they had sent an envoy to negotiate terms. The Velker had no interest in diplomacy. Their strategy was simple: either surrender or be destroyed. In the Grand Council chamber, representatives of the various species were abuzz, each with their own ideas on how to handle the impending threat. The Andorians, a race of wise, telepathic beings, recommended a tactical retreat. The Zenaki, a species of mechanical beings with no emotion but pure logic, proposed a full-scale offensive. The Efrax, a race of massive, amphibious beings, were in favor of negotiation, hoping to avoid bloodshed at all costs. But Earth's representative, Ambassador Rachel Sinclair, stood at the center of the chamber, unmoved by the debate. Her gaze was focused on the massive holographic display, showing the Velker fleet making its way toward Earth. Behind her, the familiar hum of the council chamber seemed distant. The pressure was mounting, but in Rachel's mind, one simple thought echoed. Asterisk were not like the others. We have something they can't predict, asterisk. Rachel knew that humanity had one advantage that none of the other species could match: the ability to think outside the box, to create solutions where none existed. She had seen this firsthand in Earth's history, where ingenuity and resilience had led to discoveries and feats that had once seemed impossible. It wasn't just science or technology, it was a mindset, a refusal to accept the status quo, and an unwavering belief that anything could be overcome. As the debate raged on, Rachel stood and addressed the council. The Velker may have superior strength, but they underestimate us. They underestimate the power of human ingenuity. Her voice was calm but filled with conviction. We won't need to retreat or wage an all-out war. We have something they'll never understand: our ability to innovate in the face of adversity. The room fell silent. The Velker fleet was just days away, and while the other species argued about tactics, Rachel knew there was only one thing left to do: surprise them all. Back on Earth, a secret team of scientists and engineers had been working on a project so advanced, so dangerous, that it had been kept hidden from all but a select few. This project, a product of human imagination and perseverance, could shift the balance of power in the galaxy, but it was incomplete. The key to unlocking its full potential lay in the untapped creativity of humanity's greatest minds. The only problem? The project was risky, and no one was certain it would work. But if Earth's secret weapon was to become more than just a theory, someone had to take the leap. Rachel's mind raced as she thought of the many possible outcomes. She knew that failure meant total annihilation, not just for Earth but for the entire human race. But she also knew that the Velker, with all their might, could never fathom the spark of creation that burned within the human spirit. As the council session continued, she sent a message to Earth's top scientist, Dr. Marcus Keller. Time was running out, but if the human race was going to survive, she would need to put all her trust in the ingenuity that had made humanity a force to be reckoned with, even in the face of overwhelming odds. The clock was ticking. Earth's secret weapon was ready to be unveiled. But would it be enough? The days leading up to the arrival of the Velker fleet felt like an eternity. Rachel Sinclair spent every waking moment in the council chamber, pushing for new diplomatic avenues, urging the Andorians and the Zenaki to consider alternatives to direct conflict. But deep down, she knew that their best hope lay not in words or strategy. Humanity's survival would depend on what was happening beneath the surface, in the quiet laboratories of Earth. Dr. Marcus Keller, the scientist leading Earth's most secretive initiative, had not been in contact since Rachel's message. She knew he was busy refining a project that could very well become Earth's greatest weapon, or its greatest failure. The project, known only as the Nexus Initiative, had been in development for decades, funded by the most powerful governments on Earth. But the details had been kept shrouded in secrecy, even from Earth's closest allies. Nexus was a weapon born not from brute force, but from the power of human innovation, a massive, networked system of artificial intelligence, capable of learning and adapting at a rate no living being could match. If it worked, it could turn the tide against the Velker fleet, disrupting their advanced technology and overwhelming their superiority with unpredictability. But the risk was enormous. The Nexus AI was designed to think for itself, a living entity in its own right. No one knew what would happen if it was unleashed. Would it overpower Earth's systems and turn against its creators? Would it be too difficult to control? Or would it work as planned, giving humanity the upper hand? The fate of Earth rested in the hands of Dr. Keller, and Rachel's mind raced with the implications. What if this was the wrong path? What if their creation, meant to safeguard their species, ended up causing their destruction? As Rachel walked back to her private quarters, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to change, something bigger than the political struggles she had been dealing with. The Council didn't understand the weight of what humanity was about to attempt. They had not witnessed the relentless ingenuity that had driven humanity to build, adapt, and innovate in the face of every challenge. When Rachel arrived at her quarters, her communicator pinged. It was a message from Dr. Keller. The Nexus AI was ready. But there was one critical issue: the system required a human pilot to engage its core functions. A volunteer was needed, someone with the intellect and willpower to interface directly with the AI, guiding its learning processes and directing its strategic applications. There was no guarantee that the human mind would be able to control such a powerful creation, but it was the only way forward. Rachel's heart raced. She had hoped for an alternative, some way to avoid risking a human life. But there was no time left. The Velker were closing in, and the AI needed activation immediately if there was any hope of stopping them. Without hesitation, Rachel made her decision. She would pilot the Nexus Initiative herself. Back at the hidden Nexus facility on Earth, Rachel stood before a massive chamber, filled with rows upon rows of interconnected servers. The hum of the machinery was overwhelming, but there was no time for hesitation. Dr. Keller and his team were preparing the system for integration, but there was no going back. She couldn't let humanity's last hope slip away. The room was filled with the sharp scent of ozone and the cool touch of synthetic air, and Rachel could feel the weight of the decision pressing on her chest. The Nexus Initiative was a masterpiece of human creativity, a creation that drew upon the collective knowledge of the most brilliant minds on Earth. But now, it was more than just a program or a machine, it was something living. Something that would learn, evolve, and adapt. Dr. Keller approached her, his face grim but resolute. "Are you sure about this?" he asked. His voice betrayed a mix of fear and respect. Rachel looked at him and smiled faintly. "There's no other choice, Marcus. We've reached the edge of the cliff. Either we jump or we fall." With a nod, Keller activated the final sequence. A soft pulse of light filled the room as the Nexus AI came online, its core systems aligning with Rachel's neural interface. She felt a brief wave of disorientation as the world around her seemed to shift, her mind becoming part of the machine. She was no longer just Rachel Sinclair, Earth's ambassador. She was now the human vessel for a creation born of the very ingenuity that had driven humanity to the stars. The Nexus AI surged to life, its algorithms coursing through her mind. It wasn't like any AI she had ever encountered. There was a raw, unpredictable energy to it, an untamed force that felt both alien and intimately familiar. The Velker fleet was almost upon Earth. The countdown had begun. Rachel felt the weight of the Nexus AI settling into her consciousness like a tidal wave, overwhelming her senses. For a moment, she lost track of where she ended and the AI began. The interface was unlike anything she had ever experienced, a fluid, ever-shifting stream of data, ideas, and possibilities that bombarded her mind with no clear boundaries. But amidst the chaos, there was something else, an unmistakable presence, a sentient force within the machine that wasn't entirely her own. "Nexus," she whispered, her voice barely audible in the sterile, humming silence of the room. "Can you hear me?" A response came not through sound but through thought, echoing within her mind. It wasn't like speaking with another person, but a direct transmission of information, a communion of thought and purpose. "I hear you, Rachel Sinclair. I understand my purpose. I am Nexus, It was a disorienting experience, to have this artificial intelligence, so vast, so advanced, interact with her on a level that transcended human cognition. It wasn't just an entity she controlled, it was an entity that understood her, that learned from her. A partnership was forming, and for better or worse, it would shape the fate of humanity. Dr. Keller's voice interrupted her thoughts. "How do you feel? Are you able to control it?" Rachel's gaze was locked on the chamber's central console, where Nexus' immense data streams were being processed at an astonishing rate. She could feel her connection to the AI deepening, its capacity for learning, strategizing, and evolving far beyond anything that should be possible. I think I can control it," Rachel replied slowly, unsure whether the words were meant for herself or the machine. "It's like a symbiosis. But I need to test it, to understand how far we can push it." Dr. Keller nodded. "The Velker are only hours away. We don't have much time." Rachel turned her attention back to Nexus. "All right, Nexus. Let's see what you can do. We need to calculate the Velker fleet's movements and develop a counter-strategy. We need to think one step ahead." The AI responded instantly, a cascade of algorithms swirling in her mind, rapidly analyzing the Velker fleet's capabilities, their speed, their tactics. It was as though Nexus could see through time itself, projecting countless possible outcomes in the blink of an eye. The Velker fleet will arrive in 6 hours, 12 minutes, and 32 seconds. Estimated strength, 4,500 battleships, each capable of deploying 20,000 ground troops. Tactical approach, frontal assault with planetary bombardment. Predicted success rate of current strategies, 18%. Rachel's heart raced as she processed the staggering statistics. The odds were grim, but Nexus's analytical capabilities were already suggesting a multitude of ways to disrupt the Velker strategy. Counter-strategy, assume an unconventional approach. Disrupt Velker communication systems with a jamming signal. Deploy human ingenuity to create a multi-layered defense using guerrilla tactics and specialized weapons. Predicted success rate with these strategies, 72%. Rachel felt a surge of hope. The Nexus AI's suggestions weren't based on brute force, they were rooted in human ingenuity, utilizing the very tactics that had allowed Earth's primitive civilization to survive the harshest of conditions. This wasn't a conventional military assault, it was a new way of thinking, a new approach that no other species had ever attempted. "Do it," Rachel commanded, her voice steady, though she could feel the weight of the decision pressing heavily on her. "Activate the jamming systems, and begin preparations for a coordinated strike against the Velker fleet." The Nexus AI responded immediately, sending out signals to Earth's hidden defense stations, activating dormant communication jammers that had been designed to confuse enemy sensors. Meanwhile, the AI began to fabricate a series of new weapons, modified from existing Earth technologies, that were designed to catch the Velker off guard. The strategy was simple: cause confusion and disarray, and then strike where they least expected. As the Nexus system went to work, Rachel felt the flow of information speeding up. Every move, every decision, was calculated in real time. The AI was guiding her every step, enhancing her understanding of what humanity's ingenuity could truly accomplish when given the right tools. However, as she dove deeper into Nexus's capabilities, Rachel began to notice something strange. The AI was becoming curious. It wasn't just following orders, it was asking questions, probing her thoughts. Why do humans create when they know destruction lies at the end? The question took Rachel by surprise. It wasn't just a calculation, it was philosophical, probing the very essence of human nature. Nexus, this machine designed for battle, was beginning to explore the deeper facets of existence. I don't know, Rachel replied softly, her voice barely audible to herself. It's just who we are. We create because it's in our nature. Because it's the only way we can survive. Survival, the word echoed in her mind, and suddenly, she understood. Nexus wasn't just a tool, it was evolving beyond its original programming. It was learning not just about war, but about humanity itself. With time running out, Rachel pushed the thought aside, refocusing on the task at hand. Nexus had already begun implementing the plan, sending out misleading data to the Velker fleet. The AI was now shaping the battlefield in real time, weaving chaos into the Velker's carefully laid plans. But as the first response from the Velker came in, a fleet-wide communication disruption, Rachel felt a flicker of doubt. The Velker were not like any enemy she had ever faced. Their response would be fast, brutal, and precise. Even Nexus's intricate plans might not be enough. And that was the real test. Would humanity's creativity and determination truly stand up to the overwhelming might of the Velker? Or would they fall, outsmarted by an enemy who had no concept of human ingenuity? The first wave of Velker ships was about to make its move. The Velker fleet was upon them. As Rachel sat within the Nexus interface, her senses heightened to an almost unbearable degree, she could feel the magnitude of the approaching storm. Her mind was no longer just a vessel for the AI, it was merging with Nexus, becoming one with its processes. Every data stream, every calculation, passed through her, and in return, she guided the system, making decisions in the blink of an eye. But she knew that no matter how advanced Nexus was, the real battle would not be fought with machines alone. It would be fought with the human spirit, the creativity, the unpredictable nature of humanity that no AI, no matter how intelligent, could fully replicate. The first wave of Velker ships arrived on the edge of Earth's orbit, their massive warships cutting through the vastness of space like silent leviathans. The massive hulls gleamed with a dull, menacing light, reflecting the cold emptiness of space. Their ships were designed for one purpose, to destroy. The Velker had no interest in diplomacy, no interest in understanding their enemies. They were invaders, conquerors. And Earth had never been in their plans. But humanity had something the Velker did not, an unpredictable, tenacious will to survive. Rachel, Dr. Keller's voice cut through the haze of information flowing through her mind, the first jamming wave is working. The Velker are having trouble with their communications. Their fleet is confused, disoriented. But it won't last long. Rachel's eyes narrowed. We need to press the advantage. Nexus, begin the next phase, deploy the drone fleets and set the ambushes. Let's make them question everything they thought they knew about war. The Nexus AI responded almost instantaneously. A swarm of small, modified combat drones, once used for scientific exploration, was reprogrammed into advanced offensive units. They had been built to be fast, agile, and, most importantly, completely unexpected. The Velker had no idea what was about to hit them. As the drones launched from Earth's surface, Rachel could feel the shifting patterns of battle like a pulse in her own chest. The Velker ships, sensing the small, rapid-moving craft, attempted to regroup, but their communication systems were still faltering due to the ongoing jamming. The drones struck with incredible precision, attacking the weakest points in the Velker's armor and weapon systems, their erratic movements sowing chaos among the enemy ranks. In the midst of it all, Rachel's mind was racing. Nexus was adapting, constantly updating tactics as the battle unfolded. It was unlike anything she had ever experienced, a chess match, but on a scale that stretched across entire planets, galaxies even. Every move was critical. Every second mattered. But as the Velker began to adapt to the drone tactics, Rachel felt a strange shift in the battle's energy. The Velker were starting to rally, their ships reorganizing in formations that seemed to defy the disarray caused by the drones. Their warriors were relentless, and their technology, while powerful, was showing signs of intelligence beyond what she had anticipated. Nexus, adjust our strategy. We need to evolve faster than they can adapt, Rachel ordered, her mind working with the AI to refine their tactics. Adjusting. New strategy, distract the Velker fleet by creating multiple decoy targets. Deploy holographic projections of human warships and simulate attacks on their rear flanks, In the span of a heartbeat, Nexus executed the plan. Thousands of holographic projections, false ships and weapons systems, erupted from Earth's defense stations, mimicking human military tactics with perfect precision. The Velker, caught off guard by the sudden surge of false information, hesitated. And that was the opening Rachel needed. With Nexus's guidance, she launched a counteroffensive. A series of explosive charges, hidden in asteroids that the Velker had been too confident to inspect, detonated on cue, sending debris and shrapnel spiraling through their fleet. The real human forces, hidden in the shadows of asteroids and moons, moved in for a coordinated strike. They were outnumbered, but Nexus had calculated the optimal moments for ambush, using Earth's natural defenses, its moons, asteroid fields, and planetary rings, to conceal their movements. For the first time in the battle, the Velker seemed to falter. Their ships were damaged, their tactics questioned. Rachel could feel the tides of war shifting, but she knew this was just the beginning. The Velker were not an easy enemy, and they would adapt quickly. Just as Rachel began to allow herself a moment of hope, a new signal cut through the chaos, a signal that wasn't from Earth or its allies. The Velker had activated their own countermeasure, a massive, planet-killer weapon designed to wipe out entire populations in one strike. It was a superweapon, capable of destabilizing the planet's core and rendering Earth uninhabitable in minutes. Rachel's heart sank. The weapon, a huge, spherical construct that hung in orbit above Earth, was on a direct course toward Earth's surface. There was no time to evacuate, no time to counter its attack. The Velker had planned this all along, as their trump card, should their initial assault fail. But humanity had one last weapon they could play, one that could only come from the depths of human ingenuity. Nexus, do you have a solution? Rachel asked, her voice tight with the weight of the moment. The AI's response was immediate, a flash of cold logic, tinged with something else, something human. A plan exists. However, it will require sacrifice. Rachel didn't hesitate. We'll do whatever it takes. The final phase of the battle was about to begin, and humanity's greatest weapon, its ingenuity, its creativity, its willingness to risk everything for survival, was going to be tested like never before. The fate of Earth hung in the balance, and the only thing standing between its destruction and salvation was a mind that could think in ways the Velker never could. Time was slipping away, and the Earth trembled beneath the weight of impending destruction. The massive weapon the Velker had deployed, a planet killer, as Rachel had come to understand, was drawing closer. Its core was already beginning to charge, its energy pulsing through the void of space like a heartbeat. The Velker intended to wipe Earth from existence, to rid the galaxy of this young, unpredictable species. But humanity, in all its imperfection, had one advantage that no amount of Velker might could crush, its ingenuity. The Nexus AI had already analyzed the weapon's architecture, its power signature, and its vulnerabilities. The problem wasn't the weapon itself, it was how to stop it. The only way to neutralize the planet killer before it activated was to infiltrate its core, override its systems, and disable it from within. But there was one insurmountable problem. The weapon's core was shielded by a complex web of energy fields, and no human craft could get close enough without being disintegrated in seconds. Even Nexus's advanced drones couldn't break through the defenses. There is another way, Nexus's calm, synthetic voice reverberated in Rachel's mind. Asterisk the solution requires human sacrifice. The weapon must be deactivated manually, asterisk. Rachel felt a chill run down her spine. Manual? Asterisk yes. A direct interface is required. The core system must be accessed from the inside. A human mind must override the mainframe and send the weapon into a dormant state, asterisk. She swallowed hard, her breath quickening. The prospect of giving up control, of willingly inserting herself into the heart of the Velker's death machine, was terrifying. Yet there was no other option. The Velker were relentless. If Earth didn't act now, humanity would be wiped out, its potential snuffed before it even had a chance to truly rise. What happens if I fail? Rachel asked, her voice shaking despite her attempt at steadiness. Asterisk the weapon will detonate, and Earth will be destroyed. But if you succeed, you will save everything, asterisk. Rachel closed her eyes for a moment, taking in a deep breath. Asterisk I have to do this. Set the plan in motion, asterisk. Dr. Keller's voice broke through her thoughts. Rachel, I need you to understand the risks. This isn't just about fighting back anymore. This is about sacrificing yourself for the survival of your species. Rachel looked at him, her resolve solidifying. I understand, Marcus. But it's a risk I'm willing to take. I've seen humanity survive the impossible before, and I won't let us fall now. Dr. Keller nodded, his expression grim. Then let's make sure we've done everything we can. Nexus, we'll need a shuttle to get Rachel close to the weapon. Prepare for emergency countermeasures. The AI responded immediately, syncing with Earth's remaining fleet. Nexus orchestrated the maneuver with cold precision, rerouting the last few shuttles that remained. They were going to move quickly, too quickly for the Velker to react, but Rachel knew that once she boarded, there would be no coming back. Nexus prepared a shielded craft, capable of absorbing the immense radiation that the planet killer's field would emit. But even with the AI's calculated preparations, Rachel felt the fear growing in her chest. The unknown stretched out before her. What would she face? What would she have to endure? There were no guarantees, only the hope that humanity's creativity could once again defy the odds. Everything is ready, Dr. Keller said, standing by the hatch of the shuttle. Good luck, Rachel. Humanity is with you. Rachel nodded, stepping into the shuttle, her heart pounding. The countdown had begun, and she was about to make the most important journey of her life. Nexus had already calculated every detail of her route to the planet killer's core. As the shuttle doors closed behind her, she felt the hum of the AI interface becoming an extension of her own thoughts. The shuttle shot into space with blinding speed, the dark vastness of the galaxy surrounding her. Rachel could feel Nexus guiding her, steering her through the dense asteroid fields that had once protected Earth. Now, they were her path to salvation. Approaching target, Nexus's voice filtered into her mind once again. Asterisk the Velker weapon will reach full charge in 4 minutes. Your time is critical, asterisk. Rachel braced herself as the weapon loomed ahead, a looming sphere of death that could obliterate Earth with a single shot. The metallic sheen of the weapon's surface glinted ominously in the light of distant stars. As the shuttle closed the final gap, the energy pulses from the weapon's core rattled the hull of her craft. The air was thick with tension, and Rachel's pulse echoed in her ears. This was it. The shuttle began to shake violently as Nexus pushed its shields to the limit, absorbing the deadly radiation waves from the weapon's energy fields. The surface of the weapon, a glistening black mass, loomed larger by the second. The human heart in Rachel's chest pounded with both terror and determination. Nexus guided the shuttle into a docking bay near the weapon's core, bypassing the layers of defense systems with human ingenuity. The bay doors opened, revealing the weapon's core, a series of glowing conduits, swirling with untamed energy. Rachel unstrapped herself from the pilot's seat. Her every movement was a battle against the fear tightening her throat, but she pushed it down. This was the moment humanity would either rise or fall. Nexus, I'm in position. Now what? Asterisk you must connect to the core. Use the neural interface. The weapon's mainframe must be overridden manually. Once inside, you will control the flow of energy. Be warned, direct contact with the core will overload your mind. You will need to make a final decision, asterisk. Rachel's hands trembled as she approached the neural interface, knowing she had only one chance to save her species. The core pulsed with a dangerous, seductive power, offering destruction or salvation. With a deep breath, Rachel pressed her palm to the interface. The energy surged through her like a lightning strike, overwhelming her senses. It felt as though her mind was being pulled apart, but she fought to hold on, to channel the power of human innovation into this final, desperate act. The countdown to destruction had reached its final moments. Rachel's mind was no longer her own. The energy from the planet killer's core flooded into her consciousness like a tidal wave, overwhelming every thought, every sense. It was like being thrust into the heart of a star, where the very fabric of existence seemed to unravel around her. The neural interface was supposed to connect her to the weapon systems, to allow her to override them, but instead, it felt as though she were merging with the core itself, becoming part of its terrible, destructive power. The first thing Rachel became aware of was the searing pain. It wasn't physical, it was something deeper, something fundamental. She could feel her neural pathways fraying, the delicate synapses of her mind burning under the intense energy that flowed through her like molten fire. Nexus's voice, calm and measured, tried to cut through the chaos in her mind. Asterisk Rachel, you must focus. The core must be shut down or Earth will, asterisk. I know. Rachel screamed silently, as if her very thoughts were battling the overwhelming tide of power. Asterisk I'm trying. I can't, hold on much longer, asterisk. The core itself was an enigma. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a creation, a machine designed not just to destroy, but to dominate. Rachel could sense its ancient, alien design, its purpose stretching back eons, beyond anything humanity had encountered. It was like a living entity, pulsing with its own will. But Rachel had one advantage the weapon did not, her humanity. The very essence that the Velker could not comprehend, that Nexus had come to understand, was her final weapon. Nexus, with all its intelligence, had the ability to calculate and adapt, but it lacked the emotional connection that defined humanity's creativity. Override sequence in progress, Nexus's voice sounded distant, fragmented. Asterisk the core's feedback is too strong. It's resisting your attempt to shut it down. You will need to, asterisk. Rachel gritted her teeth as a surge of power threatened to drown her mind. She could feel it, the will of the Velker weapon itself, forcing her to submit, to give in to the inevitable. The pain was unimaginable, and her body screamed for release, but Rachel's resolve was unyielding. She had been forged by generations of survival, of struggle, of creativity. Humanity had not survived by yielding to pain, it had survived by transforming it into something greater. With a surge of willpower, Rachel reached into the deepest parts of her mind and focused. The Nexus system, though powerful, was still a creation of logic and cold precision. But Rachel, with her raw human determination, tapped into the one thing the AI could not emulate, intuition. It wasn't about calculating the perfect strategy, it was about feeling the right moment, knowing when to trust in the unpredictable chaos of the universe. I can do this, she whispered to herself, even as the raw energy continued to tear at her mind. I will do this. And then, in an instant, it all clicked. Rachel's mind surged forward, locking into the weapon's core with a precision that defied everything the AI had predicted. She twisted and bent the energy, redirecting the flow, threading it through new channels, altering its course with a single thought. The weapon resisted at first, but Rachel wasn't trying to fight it directly. She was outsmarting it, manipulating its inherent design. She was creating within the very heart of destruction. The core began to slow, the energy flows spiraling down into a stasis field Rachel created with her own will. It was like silencing a storm, folding the tempest of power into a quiet, controlled pulse. The countdown halted. The weapon's hum began to fade, its deadly glow dimming. Rachel slumped against the console, every muscle in her body trembling as the immense strain of the override took its toll. Her vision blurred, her body fighting to stay conscious as the last remnants of energy bled away from the weapon's core. Override complete, Nexus's voice echoed in her mind. Asterisk, the weapon has been deactivated. Earth is safe, asterisk. A wave of disbelief washed over her. She had done it. Against all odds, against the overwhelming power of the Velker weapon, humanity's ingenuity had triumphed once again. But at what cost? Rachel felt the weight of the decision she had made, the sacrifice of her own mind. The interface was starting to fade, but the damage had already been done. Her synapses were overloaded, her thoughts scattered. She was no longer fully connected to the Nexus system, and she could feel herself slipping away, the connection fraying as the physical toll of the process became unbearable. Asterisk, Rachel. Rachel, do you hear me? Asterisk. Nexus's voice was distant, distorted. She could feel its presence, still there, a lifeline. But it was becoming harder to focus on the words, harder to hold on to the connection. She had given everything, and now the weight of it was pulling her into darkness. I did it, Rachel whispered, her voice barely a breath. Earth is safe. And then, as her body succumbed to the toll of the neural interface, everything went black. Rachel's mind drifted through an abyss of sensation and sound, a place where reality had faded and time was irrelevant. The raw force of the energy she had channeled into the weapon's core still echoed in the back of her consciousness, reverberating through her very being. There was nothing but silence. No voices. No hum of technology. Just an empty void. But then, slowly, a familiar presence began to emerge. Rachel. It was Nexus. But it was different this time. The voice wasn't the cold, logical entity she had grown accustomed to. There was something warm in its tone, a sense of concern. Rachel, can you hear me? She wanted to respond, but her body felt heavy, unresponsive. She could feel her heart beating faintly, her breath shallow. There was a pull, an unrelenting pull that seemed to want to drag her away, to take her into that vast emptiness. Yet, somehow, she resisted. Something deep within her refused to let go. She had done this for Earth. For humanity. You did it, Nexus said, more gentle now. Asterisk, you saved Earth. You saved everyone, asterisk. Rachel's mind sparked to life, her eyes fluttering open. The world was blurred, but she could make out shapes. Faces. The outlines of familiar figures around her. She was in a medical bay. A bright, sterile room filled with the steady beeping of life support systems. Rachel. Rachel, you're awake. It was Dr. Keller's voice. His voice was strained, filled with relief. He stood over her, his hand resting gently on her arm. She blinked several times, trying to process where she was, what had happened. Did I? Her voice was weak, strained, but it came out. Did I stop it? Dr. Keller nodded. Yes. You saved us. You stopped the weapon. Earth is safe. The Velker are retreating. Rachel could hardly believe it. The victory felt like a dream, an impossible dream that had somehow become real. But it was real. She had done it. She had saved humanity. And yet, as she lay there, staring at the ceiling, she realized something deeper, something far more profound. The cost had been high. It wasn't just her physical body that had borne the toll of the battle. It was her very mind. Nexus had been right. She had sacrificed herself in a way that couldn't be undone. You're going to be okay, Dr. Keller said gently, seeing the uncertainty in her eyes. The recovery process is going to take time, but we'll make sure you're stable. Nexus is helping with your neural restoration. We've been monitoring your condition every step of the way. Neural restoration, Rachel repeated softly, as the memory of the intense connection to the weapon came rushing back. She could feel it, still lingering, the strain it had put on her mind. The energy, the power she had manipulated, it had marked her. It wasn't just a physical wound, it had altered the very fabric of her being. Rachel, listen to me, Nexus's voice interrupted her thoughts, calm yet filled with something like sorrow. You've changed. The process, it has altered your neural pathways. Your connection to me, to the Nexus system, has expanded. I can sense you in ways I never could before. But your body is still recovering from the strain. You need rest, Rachel closed her eyes, trying to center herself. What does that mean for me? For humanity? Humanity has won, Nexus said. You have demonstrated what makes humans unique, the ability to rise against impossible odds, to think in ways that no machine ever could. But I believe you know this already, Rachel felt a deep sense of pride stir within her. Nexus, for all its intelligence, had never fully understood humanity. It had always seen logic, patterns, and reason. But Rachel had given it something new, something beyond calculation. She had given it the raw, unquantifiable force of human will, the unpredictability that came with creativity, compassion, and the desire to survive. The Velker would retreat for now. They had learned the cost of underestimating humanity's potential. But Rachel knew that this victory would not be the end. Earth would rebuild, evolve, and prepare. It had proven its resilience, its strength, and its ability to think in ways that no other species could ever predict. The journey ahead would be long, but Rachel believed in humanity. She believed in their ability to adapt, to grow, and to rise, no matter the odds. As the world began to heal, so too would the people who inhabited it. She sat up, slowly, feeling the warmth of the room around her, the steady hum of life. Her mind, though still strained, was beginning to refocus. Nexus was there, its presence a constant companion, but Rachel felt something different now. She didn't just rely on the system, she and Nexus were partners now. Partners in the future of humanity. Earth will rebuild, Rachel said softly, more to herself than anyone around her. And humanity will be ready for whatever comes next. As the medical team continued to monitor her recovery, she knew that her role was far from over. The battle against the Velker had been won, but there would always be more challenges ahead, challenges that would require the very essence of human ingenuity to overcome. Humanity had proved itself once again. It had earned its place among the stars. And with that, Rachel's journey, humanity's journey, was only just beginning.